Earlier in the week, it was the turn of the downriver racers in the Endurance Championship, down the full length of the Savage in wildwater kayaks and canoes designed for straight-line speed rather than manoeuvrability. American champions Jeff Huey and Paul Grabo in their flamboyantly painted canoe took the early lead, just over 24 minutes for the 9 kilometres. At the last World Championships, the Italian duo of Werner Pardella and Anton Pleichner failed to survive the rolling waves of the Isère at Bourg Saint-Maurice. 2 years on, they became the first pair to break 24 minutes. James Morris and Ross Pearton were the quickest of the 3 British pairs, in contention to halfway, but 17 seconds down on the Italians at the finish. Claude Alaphilippe and Bruno Puy-Foulou, French champions and also world bronze medalists 2 years ago in front of their own home crowd. Just one run down the river, no poles, no gates, the fastest down, the one chance they have every 2 years to become world champions. Coming to the 3 kilometre point, and they're 12 seconds up on the Italians and keeping nicely out of the waves there, trying to find that fast water. And at the finish now, you can see they've overtaken yet another American pair, and they're looking to take a big bite out of the time that Huey and Grabo put up. And about 5 to 6 strokes as they come to the line now, 23:20, and they're 26 seconds ahead of the Italians, and they go into the lead. The German brothers, Stefan and Hubert Bauch, brothers very well suited to be paddling partners, but this pair already 6 seconds down on the French leaders. Well, now Sreko Mazley, 33 in the stern from Ljubljana, Andrej Grobisha, 26 in the bow, also from Slovenia. The silver medalists 2 years ago, winners of the trials on this river 12 months ago. 3 kilometres done, and look at this, they're 8 seconds up on the French pair. And tremendous here, the man in the front there in the bow setting the rhythm, and Sreko in the stern doing all the corrections. And they've been increasing their advantage all the way down now, and that's a massive lead they've taken, 30 seconds ahead of the French. Tremendous performance. France again, Eric Archambault and Thierry Carlin after 3 kilometres, and they're down both on the Yugoslavs and their own teammates who are in second place. But that's a really good shot of the wildwater C2, much bigger than the slalom canoe, longer and designed like a knife to cut through the waves. The last 50 metres then for them, and they're not going to catch the Yugoslavs. The question is, can they deny their own teammates the silver medal? And they're going to be very, very close as they come to the line. 21.75, they go bronze, and they miss the silver by 1.5 seconds after 9 kilometres. So Yugoslavia, who'll host the next World Championships in 1991, take the gold medal. France, silver and bronze. Well, the women's junior world kayak champion in 1986, now the favourite to take the senior title. This is Uschi Profanta, 21, from Graz in the southeast corner of Austria. Very, very strong paddler. At the 3 kilometre point, and she's a couple of seconds down on Elizabeth Zangel of Italy, who leads to this point. But just look at her, use that paddle there, use the back of the wave to push off. And she really is a strong, strong paddler, powering the kayak through the waves, and now finding the perfect path on that right-hand side, picking up time on every stroke, and indeed coming to the bottom here, looking to go underneath that row bridge and take the lead. 50 metres to go, less than that now, and 24:01.56 for Zangel, and surely Uschi Profanta's going to get there first. Indeed she does, and so Austria lead from Italy. Aurore Brignard now from Toulouse, 22, 4 seconds down and in 4th position. In fact, the same position she achieved at the last World Championships. And France then had a clean sweep in this event. Coming to the finish, and she's closed right up on West Germany's Claudia Moore, who started 60 seconds earlier. Uschi Profanta's time on the left, and Aurore's on the right, and she's not going to beat the Austrian. And she goes into second place, 4 seconds the difference, 2.5 of those lost on the bottom. Laurence Castet, and she's about the second fastest to this point. Elizabeth Zangel, the Italian, was still the quickest to this point, but Castet taking a very tight line to the right, avoiding the waves, but I wonder if that's the fastest water. Down to the finish, and that early advantage now lost on the lower section. So Uschi for Austria still leads, with France now second and third. Sabine Kleinhenz, 27, born in West Germany, the former 200-metre swimming champion of that country, who now, after changing nationality, represents France in a sport she discovered just 6 years ago. Oh, she's quickest to the 3 kilometre point. 3 seconds up on the Italian Elizabeth Zangel. And look at this relentless paddling down the centre, really trying to build on that early advantage. And the Austrians' time really under threat now, as Kleinhenz has a couple of strokes to the line, and she takes the lead for France. Karin Wahl, the last woman on the course, champion of the world in '85, runner-up 2 years ago. And losing a lot of time in the heavy water. She really isn't reaching for the stroke, she isn't using that blade to power off the back of the wave. And now she's moving across to the right, but she's lost a lot of time. The 25-year-old bank clerk from Dusseldorf has got a lot to do on the lower section. And this is a big surprise. She hasn't found that extra pace, and for the first time in 6 years, she's out of the medals. And so Sabine Kleinhenz, who only switched from slalom to wildwater racing just over 12 months ago, now is world champion at the first attempt. Another surprise emerged in the single canoe category when 26-year-old Vladimir Vala, who managed only 22nd place at the last World Championship, paddled the 9 kilometres in 24 minutes 42.71 seconds. Ultimately, good enough to give him the silver medal. Steve Wells from Nottingham, a year older than Vala and last season's Europa Cup silver medalist, was 4 seconds quicker than the Czech over the first 3 kilometres, but then faded over the closing stages, losing his early advantage as well as a further 3 seconds. Europa Cup champion Andrei Jelenc, winner also of the World Cup trials on the Savage 12 months ago, stormed through the second half of the course to a 5-second victory over Vala. The 26-year-old from Ljubljana giving Yugoslavia its second gold medal of these Wildwater Championships. And Steve Wells holding off the challenges of Karim Benamouche and Ernst Libuda for the bronze medal by just 1 second. In the men's kayak, America's John Fishburne, the medical student from Montana who won bronze in 1985, was quicker than everyone over the first 3 kilometres. His time at the finish not only good enough for the lead, but also giving hope of yet another medal. Neil Stamps, the British champion from Birmingham, only 20, the silver medalist in the Junior World Championships 3 years ago. But this now the real thing. And really accelerating into the first rapid. Third of the way down, and that's the closest that anybody's got to John Fishburne. Nothing in it, and a really good line through the waves, not losing any time at all. Has he picked up the vital speed on the bottom? And yes, he has, and Great Britain now have the lead from the United States. At the 3 kilometre check, the defending champion Antoine Goetschy for France. A couple of seconds down on Stamps at this point, and working his way down the right-hand side of those big waves. Marco Pravid Massara, world champion in 1983 and again in 1985, equipped today with a pair of huge spoon-shaped paddles, which he believes will help his speed, particularly in the less rough water towards the finish. Now, what has Goetschy found on the lower half? Neil Stamps' time on the left, and he's coming underneath the road bridge. About 4 strokes still to go here for Goetschy, and he's not going to beat Stamps, and the title has gone, and he goes into the silver medal position. Fishburne now third. Pravid down on the clock at 3 kilometres, but the longer the race goes on, the better he likes it, and 9 kilometres just about as long as wildwater racing comes. But now we'll see if those paddles have done their job. 22:13:04, the time of Stamps on the left there, and it's going to be close between the British paddler and the Italian. 22:12, 22:12:88, and the Pravid has got it by 1600ths of a second. So the 31-year-old forest ranger from Milan crowns a decade of wildwater paddling with a 3rd World Championship and less than 10 seconds between the top 6. Well, very different conditions for the women as they prepare for their kayak championship. The mist coming off the bone-chilling water, trapped by the hot air above. This, though, the starting order for the best who'll go last, but without, sadly, the defending world champion Elizabeth Sharman from Britain, who's just had to withdraw with a back injury. 4:58, Margit Messelhäuser, the champion of 1985. After her, the silver medalist of 2 years ago, Miriam Jerusami. Kathy Hearn won 3 golds, but that was 10 years ago. America's Dana Sladek, last season's World Cup champion, will be last to start. Zadina Grosmanova for Czechoslovakia, right at the top of the course, trying to put the power on for the drop before gate 1. Oh, she really wasn't very positive there. And she sort of slid her way through gate number 1. And across to the red and white poles for 2, taking the left-hand route. And now coming round to 19. Clear so far, no penalties on that upper section. Nicely through there.
It's a lot harder for these girls. They haven't got the power to cope with this course like the men. And they really have to make sure they get the right line and be as economical as possible.
Absolutely. Technique at a premium when the power is not there. And this is a very, very big water river. And she's handling it very well. And through 22. Time on the left there, one of the earlier paddlers who had a lot of penalties. Don't worry about this. If Zadina keeps going like this, she's very likely to take the lead. Now, this big move across from 23 to 24.
Had a bad line in there, had to back paddle to come off the back of the wave, and consequently she dropped very low.
The paddler in foreground started 60 seconds ahead of her. She's moved out of the way to allow her to go past, which is part of the rules. 4 minutes gone, and comfortably, I think, to take the lead and set the standard. The time that the others will really have to beat. And 4:14.74, that's not a bad time. And you can see the effort it takes. Jennifer Stone for the United States, 24, law student, and coached by her dad, who looks after a number of the American paddlers. Oh, and she's gone completely outside the first gate.
Yes, she went for the safe line, but missed it to the right-hand side of the poles. The water's pushing her onto the rock. And now she must make a decision. 50-second penalty or go back and have another go.
Well, round she comes. She's going to attack it again, but this is a very tall order. She's not very big, and that water's awfully strong. And she can't afford to spend too much time there either. And in fact, she's given best to it, and she'll now rely on her second run. And Boixel, the champion of France, a law student at the University of Limoges. Oh, and in problems as she's missed gate number 1 as well.
Yes, she leant backwards, the stern went down under the water and she's pushed out right to the left.
And I don't think she's going to get back there. Indeed, she's not. And so run number 2 will have to be the one that earns her a medal, I think. Danielle Woodward for Australia now, the police officer who works for the Australian Federal Police. And getting very misty there, but she's missed gate number 1. And has decided to press straight on to gate number 2. So 50-second penalty and a 5, and so 55 seconds to add and hardly 30 seconds of the course gone. Well, here's Danielle coming into gate number 20. Very disappointing start because she was 7th a year ago on the trials here for these World Championships down this same river, but of course the gates were set in a different pattern. And another 5 seconds, and that's a full minute to add as she drops down towards gate number 23, and she's lost the concentration, the drive, hesitant, and be interested to see how she does this. Actually, it's not too bad.
That was excellent. She's really recovered her concentration well, and she can only hope to improve on her next run.
And that's what she needs to do. She needs to learn from this run. Remember, they've only had one chance to practice down this course. They've had the first run now for Danielle. She's got one more chance. 4:06.51 plus the minute puts her into 6th place. Bana Hilgertova for Czechoslovakia, who currently lead with Zadina Grosmanova.
And she's got pushed out to the right there, into the flat water. Now she must fight back and try and get through the gate clean. She's done that, well done.
And avoided the penalty and straight on to gate number 2. Nicely around there, an option there for all the paddlers. You can go left or right. It's a personal choice. As she comes down to 3, she's going to try and reverse back through this gate. Oh, she's lost her control. In fact, she's dropped below the gate. She hasn't gone through it, and she's now going to have to paddle all the way up and round and make another pass. But as she's doing this, the seconds are ticking away. And with it, her chance. Margit Messelhäuser now for West Germany. Strong paddler. And really aggressive here into gate 1. This is the best piece of aggression we've seen, but having said that, she's collected 5 seconds on the first gate. But she's not at all bothered about it. She's gone zooming on to gate number 2.
That's nice to see, some good aggression there. She's really attacking this course, which is what you've got to do.
Here's the reverse through 3, and she's done that well. All the way across to gate number 4, and really working hard. And a lot of people said that she was lucky to win in 85. Well, there's nothing lucky about the way she's paddling now. This is a result of a lot of hard work. Down to 22. Still looking strong. 4:14.74, the time of Grossmanova. Oh, and she's got washed a little bit low there.
Yes, come on, drive. She's caught the wave nicely, and she's nice and high in gate 24. Still looking very strong.
On to 25, and she's got about 20-25 seconds in which to get to the line. She should do that without too much problem. And this, not a bad first run. If she can learn from this, it'll be very good for her second time around. But nonetheless, 3:59.36 inside 4 minutes, 10 seconds of penalties, and Germany take the lead. Now France, Miriam Jerusalny coming down to gate number 16. Absolutely crucial to be on the right-hand side. Oh, she's just got pushed left there. And she's recovered well there, and she's got straight into her rhythm onto gate number 17. Silver medal at the last World Championships in front of her own home crowd, and the Europa Cup champion of last season. Comes from Marseille, very experienced paddler. And coming through 19, and she's done that little S move, trying to get that fast wave. And she's certainly one of the favourites today.
Miriam's looking very good. Her technique is excellent. She's keeping the boat moving well and being very aggressive.
Nicely through 20, and now she's got to surf across to gate number 21. Oh, she's just caught the left-hand edge of the boat there in the wave, and now she's got a back paddle into 22, but she's really recovered well there. She comes on down to the drop. And that time there on the left, of course, of Margit Messelhäuser for West Germany. And she's got 12, a bit less than 20 seconds now in which to complete the last couple of gates.
Must keep her control here. That's lovely. She's right into the gate line, keeping the power on, the boat moving nicely.
Well, for me, that's the best we've seen so far. As she comes through gate number 25, chasing the time of Margit Messelhäuser on the left. And she's going to be close, because remember, she's got a penalty to add on, 4:02.28 plus the 5, and she's there into the lead by a couple of seconds. Kathy Hearn for the United States, 30, very experienced, 3 gold medals in 1979 at the World Championships in Jonquière. No woman's achieved that either before or since, and she's very powerful, and she really does understand big water. Pretty good opening there from Kathy. Upstream gate now. Oh, that isn't very stylish. She's actually come to a stop, and that won't help her cause any. Losing some valuable time. Taken as a whole, this is a pretty steady run, and that's not a bad thing on this river. Very demanding. It's 600 meters from start to finish, so you've got to be fit. Kathy's certainly that. Now, this could be the difference between a good or a bad time.
She's watching the gate line, she's coming across, holding it in the eddy as high as she can, and driving up. That's not bad.
In fact, pretty good. And she's not going to catch Miriam, but she's going to be amongst the leaders, that's for sure. And well done, Kathy Hearn. No penalties. And that's good enough for third. Karen Davis now for Great Britain. 5th at Bourg Saint-Maurice 2 years ago. And she's got herself straight into trouble by those rocks.
She's gone too far to the right, and she's been pushed into the slack water. She must really work hard to get back through it, and she's done it. Only a 5. That's very good.
She whizzes round gate number 2 and straight on with her work. Gate 20 next, upstream. Still going not too badly. Oof. But that's a 5-second penalty.
Yes, she's caught the nose in the wave as she was going upstream then. It's pushed her back down. Now having to fight her way across the reverse gate.
And a great pity that, because she was going quite well. Those little disruptions not only cost you seconds, they disturb your concentration. And you can see there Miriam's time on the left, and she's almost at that point now. And still 24 and 25 to go.
Very low in the breakout. Just fight back up to minimise the time loss.
And if she can put this into her mind, think it through after she's finished, use the experience for the second run, she's certainly got a chance to improve. And you could see here this lack of power there just before the line, where the water was dominating her. She just lost control at a vital moment, and the time loss there quite considerable in that last phase. Elisabeth Mickler for West Germany. Margit Messelhauser, her teammate, in second place at the moment at gate number 9, upstream. Nicely through there. Bronze medal in France 2 years ago. That was nice. And so was that. That was very good.
Excellent. Elizabeth is dancing around these poles. That's lovely. Look at the concentration as she comes down there.
And this is a very good run. No penalties that we've spotted, and 3:30, so she's got about 35 seconds in which to catch Miriam. Drops down, oh no, over she goes. And what a pity, because it was going so well. And now she's got to work her way all the way back. She hasn't missed a gate though.
No, she tried to turn too early, and the edge of the boat caught in the wave and it capsized her. It was a real shame.
And this not only saps the energy, the time going as well. Just look at that little boat and the power of that water. And she's done well just to get back up there.
That's very, very difficult. She's dropped off the back of the wave and she's really struggling now. Taking all her energy to paddle back up there.
We're almost home now, but you can see well past the time of Miriam Jerusalmi, who still leads. And if she's clean, this will be a little bit of a tragedy, because she must have spent at least 30 seconds paddling her way back. And indeed she is clean, only 7th, and surely she would have had the lead. France now, and Marie-Françoise Grange-Prigent, the bronze medalist in 1983, silver in 85, gold, the one medal missing in her collection. And gate 1 has just escaped her on this occasion.
Yes, she went for the direct line. The stopper pushed her out to the left of the gate, and now she's going to have another go.
But as we've seen earlier on, that's really hard. Look at the power of that water, and she's abandoned it very quickly to go on to 2. So 50-second penalty and another 5, and I'm afraid it's going to be the second run for her. Now Dana Schladek for the United States. 25 from Bethesda, Maryland, the champion of the season-long World Cup, and she's in trouble right amongst the trees.
This water's so strong, the girls are really having trouble. She's been pushed out to the right of the gate, but that's an excellent recovery, only about a 10-second time loss.
And a lot cheaper and quicker than taking a penalty 50. Swiftly round there, and she's given herself another lease of life. Coming down to 16 now, drop down. Oh, and she's got pushed to her left, and she's outside that gate, there's no question of that, and she'll never get back for that one. So another one who's got to make it up on the second run. So Miriam Jerusalmi has the lead after a first run full of errors, and any one of the first dozen paddlers quite capable of taking the gold medal. Well, by the time the second run was due to start, conditions had deteriorated even more. The mist, the full length of the course, the paddlers having difficulty seeing from gate to gate, the judges having problems spotting the paddlers. But out of the mist, emerging at gate number 9, Stepana Hilgatova, clear on the top section of the course and going well. Through 9, the upstream gate, and then across to 10. As she emerged from the fog at gate number 23, the scorecard showed that she'd picked up a 5-second penalty in the middle of the course. But she was still in contention on the clock and still in with a chance of a medal. Nicely through 24, and as she closed on gate number 25, It was clear that she was going to be amongst the first three, and indeed she was, pushing Margret Messelhäuser, the West German, into third place. With the West German failing to improve on her second run, it was left to Miriam Jerusami, the leader, after the first run to see whether she could find a better time. Coming down to the drop above the final three gates, it was clear that the one thing she had to do was make this final move a good one, and it was perhaps the best of the whole competition, better than her first cross, and on course to break 4 minutes and to maintain her advantage. Emerging from the fog, the clock told the story, and Miriam Jerusami had maintained the lead and strengthened it. Using all of her experience, Kathy Hearn was fighting to get back amongst the medals, having been pushed out by Hilga Tova and Messelhäuser, who was still in third place. Kathy Hearn is nothing if not determined, and with the full support of the crowd urging her on with every paddle stroke, she emerged through gate number 25 into the silver medal position. She, like Miriam Jerusami, knowing that the race is not over until the last paddler is down. Dana Sladek for the United States was now well into her second run, coming down to gate 9, very low on the eddy and losing precious time. But at this moment, she was still clear and a threat to both Miriam and her teammate. Coming into view, Dana Sladek was still paddling powerfully, although she collected a 5-second penalty in the centre of the course. But it was this cross that was to decide the position of all the medals. Now she had her chance to close on Miriam and her teammate Kathy Hearn. Just one gate, but did she have enough water in which to catch them? 3:58.98 her time, good enough for the silver medal, pushing her experienced teammate into bronze, but Miriam Jerusami, the champion of the world.
I don't think age is an excuse at all. I just had one of the best runs of my life.
Yeah, in fact I had at least 10 minutes to wait, and that was difficult, very difficult, because I knew I had a good run, but you never know, until the finish. So, and after I knew that I didn't have the best time, I was beaten by less than 1 second, so the other one then I had to touch to let me win.
So Miriam realises her lifelong ambition to be champion of the world. Just one touch on a single pole, the difference between her and Dana Sladek. Kathy Hearn, the bronze, in third place. France packing 4 paddlers into the top 10. Well, terrific action, marvellous skill, but for now, from Jeremy Taylor and myself, David Goldstrom in Western Maryland, it's goodbye for now from the Savage River.